Hello, kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Welcome back to Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, round 3, the Wildcard round. Waratahs versus Crusaders in paradise, apparently next to the beach. What a beautiful place that was to play rugby, right? Right next to the beach, nice and chill. Everybody sitting on the grass, overlooking the field, in the beautiful place called the Woolongong. Yeah, it was a really nice place. And if you've ever been to Woolongong, the drive along the coastline there is just magnificent. So yeah, literally a game played in paradise, this one. Well, the paradise did bring a little bit of difficulty for the teams with the wind. So apparently the wind was pretty strong, as you can imagine, next to the ocean. And it did play a little bit into the game as it affected both teams in their kicking and maybe the passing a little bit as well for the wind. But overall, yeah, it was quite a nice setting to play rugby. And yeah, very nice chilled afternoon by the beach. However, the beautiful beach side could not mask the onslaught that Waratahs endured for this afternoon, right? It was looking pretty bad for most of the game. And the Waratahs had a bit of second wind in the second half. But yeah, it didn't last very long. And the Crusaders closed out the game with their big guns on the field. And yeah, it was really nice to see Scott Redcard Barrett back in the team. And by the way, the Crusaders had some like beard thing going on. Like the whole team had like mutton chops. Yeah, it looked quite weird and kind of funny actually. But yeah, regardless, the Crusaders did outclass the Waratahs. There were some shining stars from the Waratahs team. Isaiah Parisi played extremely well. Every time he got the ball, he was able to break the advantage line and looked very threatening. And he did go over for a try as well, I believe. And yeah, Waratahs, Crusaders, let's get this going. Now, the game kind of started, right? It was kind of even at the start. And maybe because of the wind, the Waratahs was running with the wind, whilst the Crusaders were running into the wind in the first half. So at the start of the game, both teams looked kind of like even. And the Waratahs, you can see that really work hard to improve on the defense. Still not good enough, not nearly good enough, but they did do quite a bit of work in their defense. And their four-pack worked really hard on the breakdowns to really disrupt the Crusaders game quite a bit. But it wasn't enough. It was just, yeah, there wasn't enough consistency. That's the thing. There was brief periods of really good play from the Waratahs, but there was just not enough consistency. So right away, the Crusaders were able to actually break the stalemate 7 minutes in with a try by Drummond. So there was a midfield play for the Crusaders, so they weren't even that close to the try line, and there was a kind of like a screen runner. The ball goes down the back, and there was a cutout run to Will Jordan. He runs through a little gap, and then he eventually gets through a little gap, and then he offloads eventually after he draws the last defender come in, offloads and gets Mitchell Drummond in for the first try for the Crusaders. It looked really easy. And the Crusaders were not afraid to run the ball. They were happy to run the ball from inside their own 22. And that just shows like how much they are worried about like the Waratahs. How confident they are against the Waratahs, I guess, is probably the better way to see it. So the first try to the Crusaders, Waratahs did try to strike back. So it was a legitimate arm wrestle for about 30 minutes of the first half. Isaiah Parisi, he is absolutely the best player for the Waratahs today. He did a really good, he actually slipped through defense and did a really good like 50-meter run for the Waratahs from receiving the kickoff. And eventually the ball was knocked on. Sadly was knocked on. But he was really, really good. Really, really close. He looked very threatening. But he didn't really have much support from the Waratahs. That's another issue that the Waratahs had and the Crusaders didn't have. So every time Crusaders were able to breach the advantage line or make a small line break, there's just overwhelming support to receive the offload. Whereas the Waratahs, when there's a line break, maybe 1 or 2 players is in support, and there's overwhelming Crusaders around to cut off the connecting offloads. So like, yeah, something that the Crusaders are very, very well drilled. And this one break from Isaiah Perez really showed. He was away, and no one, like one person was from Waratahs was in support, and there was like 5 Crusaders players surrounding him. Yeah, and the support play from Waratahs was poor throughout the whole game. However, that led to a scrum, and eventually the Waratahs got lucky, got a scrum penalty. The referee was really hard on the scrums. It didn't really, I think he didn't really want to reset the scrums, unlike, I guess, people were criticizing the scrums. So the referee really hard on scrums. I guess he probably had a word before the game for the forwards and lay down his expectations. And as soon as something went wrong, there was no resets, penalty, short arms, play on, which I think was really, really good. So there was no like time wasting of resetting the scrums. So straight away, there was a full-on penalty against the Waratahs. For Crusaders, I think it was an early push. And then they got a 3-point kick from that. There was a yellow card a few minutes later against the Waratahs. One of the stupidest things I have seen, like in the professional game. The Crusaders, after the 3 points, strikes back. They try to apply pressure on the Waratahs. They were getting close to the try line. There was a breakdown. There was a tackle just about 5 minutes out on the Waratahs line. And the Waratahs player, number 5, let me get his name up. Number 5, Jack Witten. He literally slaps the ball out of the ruck whilst he was on the ground. It was really, really poor from him. Gets a yellow card. Waratahs down 1 player. Something that we really did not want in a really, really tough game like this. He gets sent off. It was very, very stupid of him. But luckily, the Waratahs weren't able, the Crusaders weren't able to convert a try from this due to just small errors. They were just, small handling errors led to this yellow card not leading to a try right away. So the Tars hit back. The Tars were able to get the ball back. Were able to get back in Crusaders half, and sure enough, the Tars were able to get another penalty for the breakdown, and this, and the Tars actually look really, really good getting into this second penalty. The Tars were able to just run the ball, and every time they got the ball were just like hard line running, keep the legs pumping. Players in support, pushing him forward, just being able to get over the advantage line again and again, just with hard, straight running. Not like nothing fancy, nothing crazy. And eventually that led to the second penalty for the Waratahs. They opted for another 3 points, and Waratahs is now 6 points to 7, and it's 25 minutes into the game. With the yellow card, so Tars were really lucky to get that with the yellow card. So pretty close. And now it's already like 25 minutes in the game. So a quarter of the game has gone. Points, it's only 6 points to 7. And it's a good arm wrestle at this point, right? And then, this is literally the turning point of the game, I would say. Not I would say. This is the literally turning point of the game. And this is something that's so stupid. So many Australian teams do this. And it's just appalling. Whoever's coaching needs to just be like, ban players from doing this, period. Needs to just be banned. Okay? So the Waratahs had a penalty, right? They kicked the ball out inside the Crusaders half. It's about 22 meters out. for a line out, right? Waratahs gets the ball out. One crash ball, right? The player, again, like I was saying, the runner did really well, kept his legs pumping, got over the advantage line. Another crash ball, and the player did pretty well as well. Didn't go that far forward, but still managed to maintain the possession. Pretty good position. Just 30 meters out from the Crusaders half, try line. 2 phases, only 2 phases. Will Harrison gets the ball in the 3rd phase, okay? He decides to do a chip kick to nobody. He just goes straight, he literally chipped the ball forward straight into Crusaders fullback. Like, someone needs to ban Australian teams from doing this. It was so dumb, so stupid. It did nothing. You literally did nothing but give the ball to the Crusaders. You made us well just roll the ball on the ground and give it to them. You made us well just pass it to them. What's the point? There was like nothing. Just a little chip kick over the top. No one was chasing. No one was in position to chase that. The chip kick was too big anyway. No one can even get there in time. You didn't go to the sideline. You just went straight to the fullback of the Crusaders player. And guess what? The Crusaders gets the ball inside their own 22. They're like, yeah, sure, you don't want to run the ball. We'll run it. And they ran the ball, face after face, quick ball, literally about 10 seconds later. Okay? Crusaders were running the ball down the other hard side of the field, just working the shore side, getting closer and closer to the Waratahs line. Eventually, the Waratahs, I think it was, yeah, eventually the ball, they were working the shore side. The ball goes to Cody, who was his name? I forgot his name. Eventually the ball, I think, went to their, I think it went to Mataeli on the wing, and he runs down the short line. As he's getting tackled, he flicks the ball back inside to Cody Taylor, and Cody Taylor just runs in for a try. Like, this all started from inside Crusaders' own 22. They just ran the ball, quick ball, ran a few phases, quick ball, ran a few phases, quick ball, and they worked all the way from one side of the field to the other side, and they worked down the short side. Just a little support play from the inside from Cody Taylor, knowing that Mata Eli is going to get pushed out. He flicks the ball back in to Cody Taylor. Just like that. All started from this stupid kick that went to nowhere. So dumb. 2 phases. You're giving up. You're just going to kick it away. Inside the Crusaders half. Just outside the Crusaders 22. So dumb. They need to just ban these players from doing this kick, period. Because I don't care. I don't care if you have to run the ball backwards run the ball into wall, losing advantage line. I don't want to see players kicking the ball away to nothing, to no one. Straight back to the opposition. I'd rather see you go backwards by running the ball because the defense line's pushing up and putting pressure on you, than you kicking the ball straight to the opposition. So dumb. So stupid. And this is the turning point, and this is where the floodgate opened for the Crusaders. It was so stupid. I was just baffled. Honestly, I was baffled when I saw that. I could not believe a professional team could be this stupid and kick the ball away whilst they're in such a good field position. It was so dumb. So dumb. Anyway, this is literally where the floodgate opens. Second try for Cody Taylor just before the 30-minute mark. So for 30 minutes, it was pretty even from both sides. Despite Waratahs has a yellow card, they were holding on quite well. And this is where the floodgate opened. And it was just appalling gameplay. And then, a few minutes later, Seville Reese goes over again. The Waratahs building pressure, once again, from the kickoff, I think, from this one. Anyway, just building pressure, getting quick balls out from the breakdown. Eventually, they just spread ball out wide. And Seville Reese had 2 people outside of him. He did a little Yeah, he literally just did like a little, like, he didn't even do a dummy. He just showed, what's called a show and go. He showed the ball and went, okay, I'm just going to run it. And then he didn't even do like the dummy thing. And he just runs through a massive gap out wide in the Waratahs defense. I guess they're one person down still at this point. But he looks so easy. Like, Xavier Reese runs in. He just looked like he looked like he was having a jog out there. Didn't even, like, try. Easy, another easy try for the Crusaders. Whilst leading up to this try, it did look like there was a knock-on going forward. But the referee ruled it, no. Like the ball kind of popped up in the air. And then, like, yeah. And then the Crusade, like, in one of the tackles. And then the ball kind of looked like it went forward. But the referee says it went backwards. But it was really, really weird. But anyway, maybe the ball came off the Waratahs player. But yeah, so that was an easy try for the Crusaders. Just building phases. The Crusaders didn't kick the ball away, ran the ball, and then try time. Try time, easy try time. A few minutes later, the Waratahs were able to get back inside the Crusaders half from the kickoff. And the Waratahs forwards worked really hard on breakdown and managed to get a turnover at the breakdown. Cody Taylor illegally tried to rip the ball back and give away a penalty for the Waratahs. And Waratahs took another kick at 38th minute. Now you're thinking, okay, 38th minute, you take a penalty kick, 2 minutes to go before halftime. You're only 10 points down, okay? I think this point is 3 tries to 3 penalties. I think it's 19 points to 9. You're like, okay, 10 points down, going to halftime, it's fine. Like you can do this. It's not a big deal. You had a bad period there where you kicked the stupid ball away, but you can still do this, right? Just before halftime, Crusaders are not going to let it up. This is the Crusaders. This is the championship team. This is something that they do best, okay? On the 39th minute, Crusaders scores a try. Literally a minute later, from the penalty kick from the Waratahs. Crusaders strikes straight back, okay? The Crusaders managed to somehow recover the ball from the kickoff, okay? And they just start running the ball again. And again, it's just offloads, little breaks, just overwhelming support on the sideline, okay? So they're working the short line again. And there was just like little offloads. And you can see it. There's like 3 blue jerseys defending the defending the sideline in the train tracks, and there's like 5 red jerseys flooding the sideline trying to get the offload. I don't know how to describe this, but like just overwhelming support in their own to their own players. Eventually, there was a wide ball to. There was a wide ball to, what's his name? McLeod. There was a wide ball to McLeod, and he ran a really nice arm this line. The Crusaders defense, like, just overran him, basically, and he comes back in line, scores a try for the Waratahs. So, yeah, the Crusaders able to work the short side with overwhelming support and offload, get in the advantage line, sucking the Waratahs defense in, and then just spreading out wide. Nice try again. 39th minute. 1 minute later, Crusaders strikes back. And that just like, it's just devastating for the Waratahs. You were so close. If you were able to get like just 10 points behind at halftime, you know, coming out of the second half, it's game on, right? That try really hurt for the Waratahs. And it was just, yeah, really poor defense from the team. Anyway, second half starts. 1 minute in. 1 minute into the second half. You figured that the Waratahs would come out with a bit more urgency. Crusaders, always more urgent than you. They're the heart and soul of the All Blacks. And something the All Blacks do the best is the end, before the end of the before halftime and after halftime. And that is the championship mentality. You want to finish the game, the half strong, and start the second half even stronger. And that's exactly what the Crusaders did. Okay? Come out 1 minute into the game. Okay? There was, again, I think the Waratahs were kicking off. Crusader received the ball inside their own half, like just after their own 22. they're more than happy to run the ball from inside their own half. They don't care. They're not going to kick the ball back to you. You kick, they just run the ball inside the country. And there was one point where basically there was a pass to Mo'unga. He catches the ball with one hand, right? This guy is an absolute anomaly. The ball, there was a bad pass from, I think, Drummond. I'm not sure who it was. But it was kind of like a bad pass. He kind of like went like behind him. He just reaches out one hand, casually grabs the ball, pulls it in, looks in front of him. There was two forwards, a big mismatch. He just like, yeah, thanks very much. Slips through the gap between the two forwards in front of him. And he ran like 50 meters. And again, the Crusaders offload game is just incredible. He offloads the game, ball to Cody Taylor. And then there was two phases. And he gets tackled. There was two quick phases, two quick pick and go. And Crusaders were just like suddenly right down in the Waratahs 5 meter line inside their own half. And eventually the Fayanga Anuku picks the ball up, looks like he's gonna do a quick pick and dry. He picks the ball up from the breakdown. He's like, a meter away from the try. Runs, takes a step, and he looks up, and there was two defenders in front of him, and he quickly turns and offload to Scott Barrett. So he basically picked the ball up, looked like he's gonna dive over to try to go for a try, draws the defenders in. Scott Red Card Barrett was a couple meters out from him, throws the ball out to him. All the defenders were looking at him, trying to go for a dive through. Scott Barrett gets the ball, like no one. There was like one player there, maybe a massive gap. One player was coming in to tackle him. He just like casually crashes over. Easy as that. First try, 1 minute in. Scott Red Card Barrett gets the first try for the Crusaders in the second half. Okay. And now the Waratahs started to play with a bit of urgency. Okay. They started to play a bit of urgency. And there was a lot of repeated penalties given away by the Crusaders for the next period. There was a center field scrum. Okay, so there was repeat penalties. Yeah, so the Waratahs did do a lot of work at the breakdowns. Their forward pack was working quite good in disrupting the Crusader balls at a breakdown when they do get an opportunity. So there was a bunch of penalties against the Crusaders. And eventually Waratahs were able to ping the Crusaders back down inside their own half. Inside their own 22. And the referee puts over Scott Barrett and he goes, okay, any more penalties inside your 22, someone's gonna go off the field. There was just cynical like offsides leading up to this penalty. So instead of going for a line out, because the Crusaders actually had really good maul defense, the Waratahs opted for a scrum. And the Crusader scrum has been good, but it's been like 50-50. The referee they've been penalized quite a few times already in this game for like early engagements and slipping. So Waratahs felt like the scrums were a more even matchup and potentially a little bit of advantage towards them. So they opted for a midfield scrum for this penalty. Around 10 meters out from the Crusaders try line. So the scrum goes down, pretty steady, not much happened. The ball pops out of back. Jack Maddox, this is a classic play. Jack Maddox was around, looking like also in the open side at the number 10 position. So it looked like he's going to get the ball and potentially crash down the 10 channel, right? But instead, as soon as Paul pops out, he runs around the back of the scrum and goes to the blind side, and the halfback gets the ball, just a little pop pass to Jack Maddox, and he just slips through right by the scrum in the blind side, straight in. Beautiful setup. Try for the Waratahs. I remember seeing this in high school. This is a very classic play. In high school, I remember there were one of the first 15s that we play against had a really big winger. Like he was really big and fast. And this is like one of their moves that I remember getting scored on, like in school. They just set him up in the open side, and he looked like he's gonna run the 10 channel. And he suddenly switches the blind side around the ruck, around the scrum, and he scores in your blind side where no one is kind of like expecting. The forwards are still like in the scrums, busy trying to pushing the ball, trying to wondering whether the ball is out or not. But yeah, this is a very classic setup for a try. Look, pretty good. He slips in under the sticks. This is the first try for the Waratahs. And then straight away from the kickoff, there was Harrison kind of gets the ball. Again, he shouldn't have done this. He tries to chip the ball away. He did another little chip over the top, but this time he did the chip. One of the Crusaders guy changed his running line to step in front of him to block him from chasing the little chip. And the referee goes, yep, I just told you, repeated penalty, there's too many penalties, he gets a yellow card. So Crusaders are off one player. So now the Waratahs might get some momentum from this. And you're thinking, okay, we just got to try, and now there's a yellow card. This could be a comeback. This could be a comeback. And that actually led to a so the Waratahs kicked the ball out, led to a line out. And so led to a line out. There was quick ball. They just spread the ball one way, exhausted the one side, and then they spread the ball out back on the other side. And Parisi, there was a really nice little loop play in the center field where there was like a screenplay where Harrison passes the ball and the ball player gets the passes the ball to the player, and the ball player turns around, pops the ball back to Harrison, so Harrison loops around the back, and he throws around a pass. So he was able to link up with twice in this play, and then eventually the ball passes, and then eventually there was a cutout, one man cutout to Parisi, and Parisi, man, he just runs through the Crusaders defense. Like, he just slipped through. Like, there was like, almost looked like the tackler wasn't there. It almost looked like the Waratahs were on the defending end of this. He slips through a nice little gap. The Waratahs fullback comes up to try to tackle him. He just, like, mauled him over and goes over for a try. I think it was Seville Reese, actually. It wasn't Cody Taylor. It was Seville Reese. It looked like Seville Reese. He was a bit smaller than Parisi, but just mauls him over for a try. And straight away, Waratahs, back-to-back tries and a yellow card. Suddenly, the game's in reach again. I think it was 33 points to 20 something. It's like only about 10 points behind. Suddenly looking good. Okay, I was excited. I was like, yeah, this is good. Parisi and the Waratahs, when they're running the ball, like this little loop play that they did with Harrison, linking him back, a little cutout, looked so good. Looked like, really looked good. And they, if they just held on to the ball and they didn't kick it away, this could be something that they build on and, potentially make a comeback, right? That's what I was thinking to myself. But Crusaders went, nah, you got lucky. We're going to hit you right back. Right after the Parisi try, the Crusaders hits back despite having one person in the bin. Okay? The Waratahs were once again just trying to build pressure on Crusaders, and just little handling errors, knock-ons in their own attacks led to Crusaders able to build back led to the Crusaders building themselves back into attacking position. So so basically from this kickoff, Waratahs decided to run the ball out, okay? I mean, yeah, we're talking about stupid kicking. This is a good time to kick the ball. You're inside your own 22. The Crusaders looking at turning the ball over. You should just kick the ball, clear the ball out, get some distance, and work down the opposition half, okay? This is actually a good time to kick. But for some reason, the Tars decides to not kick. And they try to run the ball out from their own 22 from the kickoff, okay? I genuinely don't know who's, like, making decisions out on the field, okay? That's I don't know. It's so dumb. Yeah, it's so dumb. When you're inside the opposition half, you start to kick. When you're inside your own 22, it decides to run. I don't know who decides on these things. But anyway, that's what the Tars did. They tried to run the ball out. Small mistake on the ball. The Crusaders turned the ball over, right? So yeah, small mistake. Okay, actually, no. What happened was a small mistake. They threw a pass to nobody. The ball rolls out of the sideline. Crusaders gets attacking line out, just outside the Waratahs' own 22. Okay? And again, the Crusaders, they just ran the ball, short ball, quick ball, short ball, crash ball, quick ball, got really close getting closer and closer to the Waratahs line. Eventually, they just flicked the ball out wide. Faianga Anuku gets the ball, and he crashes over for a try in the short side. Just like, I don't even, I can't even describe it for you. It's just good, quick plays, short balls, and good support, flooding the breakdowns, getting in position to receive the offloads. Faianga goes over straight away due to Waratahs' stupidity trying to run their own ball out of their own 22. Anyway, and then at this point, the Crusaders still had a person in the bin. And you're like, okay, just stabilize. It's not out of reach. You can still win. Still plenty of time. You know what? 5 minutes later, Crusaders scores again. Okay, the Crusaders were putting pressure on the Waratahs in the 22. There was a high tackle, led to a penalty. Crusaders went for a line out. Line out went for a maul, and this Crusaders maul has known to be the best in the competition. And sure enough, the Waratahs were just going backwards. And eventually, it got really close to the line. The Waratahs just had to bring backs in to try to stop them all. And then Hall, the reserve, I think he was a reserve halfback. But anyway, Hall, he basically looked up. He was looking up. He sees that the Waratahs' entire backline, like half the backline's in, including everyone on the blind side in the Waratahs' backline, is in to defend the ball. So literally, there was a maul, and there was no one defending the blind side because everyone's in to try to stop the maul from going over the try line. He just picks the ball up from the back of the maul, and he prematurely hit the ground as well. He was expecting to get tackled, so he was, instead of just running in, he ran and he hit the ground, dove early to the ground, and then he reached out for the try. Okay, he was expecting to get tackled, so he hit the ground, he dived early to try to get close to the try line, and then he reached out for the try, despite the fact that no one was even there to touch him. So yeah, that was very, very well worked Crusaders maul from the line out, and yeah, it looked hopeless for the Waratahs to defend that. They put everything into it to stop the maul. Otherwise, the maul was going to go over for a try. And then when they put everything in, there was no one to defend. The ball comes out. Literally, there was 2 more support players in the blind side for the Crusaders as well, and there was 0 defenders in front of the Waratahs. The try scorer didn't even get tackled. He was right there next to the maul, and he just, very easy try. 63rd minute for the Crusaders, and after that, there's so many tries scored. I have running out of paper here. After that, there was in the 74th minute, another about 9 minutes later, another try scored for the Crusaders. The 8th try for the Crusaders. Again, there was a line out that led to a maul, and there was 2 really quick breakdowns for the Crusaders. This time the maul didn't go anywhere. There was 2 really quick balls on the breakdown, and the Crusaders gets the ball out. The 2 quick breakdown again sucked in so many defenders, and there was this wide space open out wide. Crusaders players gets the ball out, and they see wide open space out wide. A nice, instead of throwing, they could probably just throw a pass, right? Instead of throwing a pass, they did a crossfield kick, a high ball crossfield kick. Will Jordan, it was probably defendable because this high ball was really had a lot of hang time. And Will Jordan catches the ball around 5 meters out from the try line. And there were 2 players from the Waratahs just getting there to make the tackle. Okay? 2 players on Will Jordan, and they weren't able to tackle him. Jordan just kept his leg pumping, and worked his way over the try line. I don't know what to say. Poor tackling techniques. So yeah, two players were, despite the extremely long hang time on this ball, two players from the Waratahs were able to get there to defend this. And Jordan gets the ball. He just casually kept his leg running, went over the try line. And that's the 74th minute for the 8th try for the Crusaders. I don't know what to say. However, the Waratahs, like they've been doing in many of their previous games, will have the final say of the game. The Waratahs were trying to score a consolation try in the dying minutes of the game. They were building pressure. They actually got really close to the Waratahs try line. They had numbers out wide. They tried to spread the ball out wide. And David Havili comes in to defend and he deliberately knocks on the ball. I thought that was kind of stupid of him because the Waratahs were, you're so far ahead. Why do you need to commit a professional foul to stop a try? That's kind of mind-boggling for me. I'm not sure if it's just I'm not sure how, what went through his head. He was, sure, there was two players out wide and he was last defender. But that was a professional foul. Could have been a penalty try too, but yeah. I don't know why he did that. He got a yellow card. A few minutes later, there was another yellow card against the Crusaders. Not even a few minutes, a few seconds later, another yellow card for the Crusaders. Nathan Miller, I've got here. Is that his name? Nathan Miller? Nathan Vella. Nathan Vella. He gets his hand in the ruck, and then he gets penalized for slowing the ball down illegally. It's a pretty obvious one as well. Yellow card. So now the Waratahs have 2-player advantage over the Crusaders with about 30 seconds left on the clock. They took a quick tap from the penalty. They ran the one quick ball and then they spread the ball out wide. And there was a cut-out pass from Harrison to... There was just, way too many people in the bin for the Crusaders. Not enough to defend. There was a cut-out pass from Harrison to what's his name? To Newsom, and he was able to just, there was one player coming to defend him, he was able to just take a inside line, cut inside, gets over for the 3rd try of the Waratahs. And the hooter goes off, and the Waratahs did have the last say against Crusaders, but overall this was a pretty one-sided game. But I have to say they did better than I was expecting. I honestly thought the Crusaders were probably going to put even more tries than 8 against the Waratahs. The Crusaders seems a little bit off. They at times made small errors that probably could have led to more tries. But yeah, the Waratahs play better than what I was expecting, I would say. But quite the beating they took from the Crusaders. There was some really good plays from Isaiah Peresi, the former old boy from Anglican Church Grammar School from Brisbane. So that's a pretty big rugby school there. And he did really well for the Waratahs. He looked very threatening when he ran the ball. Probably the shining star of the game. But yeah, hopefully his off-field antics keeps him on field. And hopefully he doesn't fall into that path where he's, off-field partying ruins his career. He definitely has the talent to be a star in rugby union. So that's the end of the review, guys. Thank you for watching. And we have Blues versus the Brumbies coming up, which I am predicting a first win for Australian teams. Okay, hopefully the Brumbies can pull it for the Australians. Thanks for watching, guys. Wow, 40-minute video, and see you guys next time.